Well, back to the Arbery murder trial. All three suspects found guilty of murder and other charges.
Reaction from all over the world after hearing that verdict. Dr. Robert Sanders, an associate professor at the University of New Haven, is joining us now with some perspective on this case. First, Professor, thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, tell us, this is such a big verdict here. What did this case hinge on, and your reaction?
Well, it really hinged on a better presentation by the prosecutors and the ability to get evidence in where, as in the Rittenhouse case, the witnesses that were presented by the government actually turned against them. That didn't happen in this case.
And as a matter of fact, that was going to be my next question for you. The case actually is very different from the Kyle Rittenhouse case, but in the current climate, the entire country watching so closely, inevitably making comparisons here. What do you see as the similarities and differences in these cases?
Well, the only similarities and differences that really stand out are the attempt to use self-defense, and the attempts are radically different. Even though Kyle Rittenhouse was acquitted on the charges, I still believe that regularly you cannot bring the fight and then begin the fight and then claim self-defense. Now, you got to remember, though, each state has its own criminal justice system with its own criminal justice laws written, passed by their own legislatures, and then executed by their own police. That's state by state. There's 50 different versions of that. At a federal level, there's a whole other story. Now, in the cases in Georgia, what we were talking about was individuals who chased, trapped, and murdered an unarmed individual. I have to say that's a distinctly different scenario from Kyle Rittenhouse starting a fight and then claiming self-defense.
Oh, very good points. You know, the McMichaels claimed that they were trying to make this citizen's arrest when they confronted him. Is that even legal? What is that?
It was legal because there was a Reconstruction era law. Now think Reconstruction era, end of slavery, where individuals could apprehend people under the Citizen Arrest Authority and then turn them over to the local sheriff, police officer, whoever. Think about that as a extension of how do you catch slaves when it's no longer legal to have slaves? Well, you use the law. Now, that law has been since removed from the books of Georgia, but it was in place when the McMichaels and Mr. Bryant went out to accost and later murder Mr. Arbery. Now, we have to look at that now and think about in context. Do we want our citizens to go out and trap individuals? Do we want who may have or may not have committed a crime? Do we want to allow individual citizens to use deadly force in making those type of arrests if that was the law we wanted to have in place? I mean, all those things are now social considerations that citizens need to think about and then push their legislatures to act responsibly in those areas.
All right, UNH professor Dr. Robert Sanders, we thank you for joining us this afternoon. We appreciate your time and your insight.
Really interesting. Thank you.